102.7 WMOM and Hot Country Hits 99.9. If you don't have Facebook, you can watch it on YouTube or your smart devices like your Amazon Alexa, your Google Home, and of course over 102.7 and 99.9. Jamie Healy in the studio with us. Good morning to you.
Hi.
How you doing?
Good.
And it's afternoon, by the way.
I was just going to say, I think it's about noon.
I am so used to talking about morning, and that's all right. But let's talk about you and as the executive director and this great organization called Habitat for Humanity. A lot of people know that name, but sometimes they don't know what you actually do. So over the next couple of minutes, we'll chat about that. And we'll encourage the listeners and viewers to head down to the Jaycees mini golf course so that they can golf and give back to Habitat for Humanity. How about that?
That's awesome.
All right. Jamie, first of all, how long have you been with the organization?
I've been with the organization for over 8 years.
And so a lot of things have changed in that time. A lot of people continue to need some help from Habitat for Humanity. But when we talk about that organization, when we talk about the agency, what are we talking about when it comes to Mason County and even the surrounding counties?
So Mason County has a small affiliate. We have some store staff, but I'm a staff of one. So we have to work smarter, not harder. Mm-hmm. And in the last 8 years, things have sort of shifted a little bit. As we have all seen, the housing market is getting more and more challenging to navigate. Mm-hmm. And so one of the things that we're working on now is to have the greatest impact we can within the means that we have in terms of our capacity. So while most folks recognize Habitat for Humanity as building houses, unfortunately, the reality is that building a home costs anywhere from $250,000 to $300,000, and that's just not affordable for the folks that we're trying to serve. So a couple years ago, we went to more of a critical home repair need. We partner with other agencies, so we do referrals, and we work on basic needs. And what we mean by that are things that impact families and keeping them in their homes, like making sure they have running water, adequate heat, and a safe roof for their family.
Because we talk about housing being very difficult in Mason County and in Ludington and surrounding areas already, it's difficult to say, okay, let's keep putting up homes. So you really had to change that. You changed your model and your focus, right?
We did. It was a challenging decision because we want to make sure that we're still putting folks into home ownership situations. But the reality is also with inflation, it's harder and harder for folks to become mortgage qualified because unlike what some folks think, we don't give houses away. These families work very hard that they qualify for mortgages, and we make sure that that is an affordable payment. But unfortunately, what it costs and what folks can afford, they just don't match up. And we're not unique to that in our community. It's around the state and around the nation. So we're all in this housing crisis. And so, again, our leadership team in our county has worked really hard to make sure that we're having the greatest impact. So where we would impact one household, we now impact more like 15 to make sure they stay in their homes and have a healthy living situation.
Absolutely. And we'll break that down as some scenarios of what you actually do to help them here in a second. But you bring up a very important point in regards to the cost of houses. Can you still, put up a house here and there, or is it kind of on pause until some of those costs come down?
We're working pretty diligently on trying to create some opportunities for us to build. We had a family who donated some property in town. We're working on some plans to figure out how we can do that, maybe a duplex where we would impact 2 households versus 1. Because if we're going to start building, it would make sense to just try and impact a couple families versus just 1.
Absolutely.
Because we do have a housing need in our community. And so we're just trying to make sure that we can move forward in a way that impacts the most in our community, and whatever that needs to look like. Sometimes those needs are a little different. And again, homeownership is important, but it's not a great fit for everyone. Or for those who already have a home, how do they stay there?
Yeah, good points there. All right, so rewind just a moment. We talked about how you've changed your focus. So how are you helping people individually, as you mentioned, 15 to 50, rather than just 1, 2, or 3, right?
Yep. So we shifted again again, to a referral basis with some other agencies. So how that helps is when folks are in a situation where they have a need, a critical home need. Let's just use a well, for example. We have a low-income family and their well goes out and they don't have water. And that's actually more prevalent in our community than some might think. So we work with those caseworkers, rather. The caseworker walks alongside them, gets the quote, gets them through all of the other resources that they may be able to be eligible for in different programs, different funds that are available. And then they bring us in at the last minute and say, okay, we're ready here. This is the quote. And so then we take over, call the contractor and say, okay, get the well on the schedule. And then the homeowner is required to contribute 25% of the cost. That's their skin in the game. That helps keep the program a little sustainable. It just sort of kind of pay it forward to the next household. And so then what it does is allows the client to only work with one person. And anyone who's been in some of these situations where they have to go to agency to agency to agency and fill out all these different paperworks and forms and qualifications, we just try to expedite the whole process so that it's easier for the caseworkers to help their clients and the clients to navigate the systems. And we can get things done a lot faster. So it really is a win-win for everybody. And it's just a lot more efficient in terms of helping folks just to get something done. Because if you've ever been without water, or in the winter when you're running space heaters and you're cold, or your roof leaks and your anxiety rises every time it rains. I mean, these are things that affect people on a daily basis in our community, and it's something we just want to help alleviate a little bit.
Absolutely. Good. And I like how you broke that down, because that's important to know. And it's great that you're working with multiple agencies without burdening the end user, right? With that. And then that could, and we see that all the time. Somebody asks this question, okay, then I have this problem. And it can kind of a domino effect, and they don't get anywhere because they're tied down there. What can we do as a community to help out? And then we'll dive into what we can do today in regards to the Jaycees. But what's your help? What's needed?
I think that the community support is what is the most needed in our community. For us, I can say one of the misconceptions is that we're a national organization. And while we have a national brand, or international brand rather, all of our dollars, all of the funds for our project come from the revenue from our Restore, local grants like the Community Foundation and United Way, as well as donors. And so that's all we operate on. So it's really important that the community steps up and helps just, even a few bucks here and there, it just helps us kind of compile those funds, and we can help the next family. Again, just these are things that we take advantage of in some of our households that we don't think about, or, just to turn the faucet on to do dishes or wash your hands or all the things. But these are things that folks who don't have those abilities, and those are big repairs, right? Those aren't repairs that just you throw $100 at or a few $1,000s at. These are 10,000s or more projects that folks don't have that just in their bank accounts, or sometimes they're stretched to the point where they can't get a loan for those things. So these are high dollar repairs that they just need a hand up, right? They just need some support and somebody to walk alongside them and help them reduce some of that stress with some of their housing issues.
All right. And the Restore, obviously, that's a big element of this that keeps a foundation coming in, right?
It sure is. It's our largest fundraiser. So if you've got items, donate those to us, shop. And if you've got some extra time and you want to look at some volunteer hours, we can do that too. All
right. And then today, 30% of those that are golfing at the Jaycees mini golf course at the end of Ludington Avenue and Lakeshore Drive will go to Habitat for Humanity. And that's until 10 p.m. tonight. It's a great looking day outside, so hopefully people will come out. And when they're down there, they can ask questions like this to you in your team there, right?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And so come down. 30% of today's play goes to it, or anything that you shop right at the Jaycees. They do this every Monday. The Jaycees do. It's called Charity Mondays, and they pick a charity each Monday. When you got that reach out from the Jaycees, that had to be a pretty cool moment, right?
I am so grateful for them. They've done this for the last several years, and I think, it's such a small gesture with a great big impact. I mean, we're so grateful that they do this, and it all adds up, and we're grateful for those who go out and enjoy their families. I'll be going with my sister and my nephews later this afternoon, and my kids. So it's something that gets us out. It's a wonderful, wonderful event, and it's beautiful outside today. So we're really grateful for that.
All right, let's make it happen. Get some more funds coming into the Habitat for Humanity of Mason County. Jamie, we appreciate you coming in. Anything that we missed talking about today that we want the community to know about?
I think that's it. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. All right, stand by. We're going to send our Hot Country Hits back to some of those great hits that you've been loving here in the noon hour. So keep it locked here to Hot Country Hits 99.9, home of your new country and your all-time favorites. And for us here on 102.7 Mom FM, again, Jamie, we appreciate you taking the time with us today. And of course, you mentioned volunteering. They can reach out to you through your Facebook or your website too to volunteer, right?
Yep.
All right, let's make that happen too. It is 102.7 Mom FM as we continue with the 80s and 90s lunch party here on WMOM.